Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, participants. Welcome to Wellness Week, day 2, where we are connecting to the 8 dimensions of wellness in our daily lives. We're trying to integrate these into our daily lives every day. So we're so happy to have you here today. This webinar is being recorded and it will be available on our website momentarily. We are also having this webinar presented in English with Spanish translation. Thank you very much to Marta Bitone, who is our interpreter today. Hola y bienvenido al Semana del Bienestar al Marin. Este webinar se está grabando y presentando en inglés y se traduce simultáneamente al español. Muchas gracias a Marta Bitone, que es nuestra intérprete esta tarde. So for this week of wellness, we do have a tracking your progress where you can track how you are participating in the wellness activities this week. You can also be tracking other activities that you can do, like taking a walk, taking your own mindful moment, writing a thank you note. So there's a lot of different ways that we can integrate wellness into our daily lives. So there is a tracking sheet. I will post that into the chat momentarily. And then Friday afternoon, we will be celebrating Wellness Week and providing space for entering anyone who's entered to sort of win possibly a prize. And so that will be happening Friday afternoon at the 3 o'clock session. So I've placed the Google form for you to complete that before Friday. And of course, the meaning of this whole week is all around the wellness and all around bringing it into our daily lives and integrating it into our daily lives, knowing we have full plates, knowing we have a lot going on. It's really around bringing that perspective to ourselves and giving that gift to ourselves. So today you have joined day 4 of a total of 15 sessions being offered. We have Dr. Bidyut Bose, who is here. He is the founder and the executive director of the Niroga Institute, and he will now guide us through a mindful moment with the financial and the intellectual dimensions of wellness included. So thank you so much, Dr. Bose, for being here. Take it away.
Thank you, Michelle. A pleasure being here with everyone. Why don't we start by taking a mindful moment together? So let's come up sitting tall in our chairs, our ears, our shoulders, our hips just gently lining up one above the other. Our eyes and mouth softened, chest and abdomen, neck and shoulders relaxed. Feel free to close your eyes if you're comfortable, otherwise a soft gaze to hold your attention at a point in front of you. Bringing our attention to our own breathing, not changing it in any way, simply feeling each breath, each bit of each breath, just as it's happening, moment by moment. The air flowing in through our nostrils, perhaps our chests, our bellies gently expanding. Air flowing back out through our nostrils, chest and abdomen gently floating back towards our spines. Simply noticing each breath, each bit of each breath, breath by breath and moment by moment. Now adding a bit of rhythm to our breathing, into a count of 3 or 4, and out twice as slowly to 6 or 8, perhaps like this. Breathing in, 2, 3, breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Your own count, at your own pace, continuing to feel each breath and now perhaps starting to watch it a little bit more closely. Are you breathing fast or slow? Is your breathing shallow or is it pretty deep? How's the flow? Choppy, jagged, or really smooth? Continuing to feel each breath and to watch it closely, breath by breath and moment by moment. And now let us add another layer to this bit of rhythmic breathing. If you're comfortable resting a hand on your belly, your abdomen, otherwise just visualizing your hand resting there. And your other hand could be resting on your first hand or resting on your heart as you tune into your own heartbeat and perhaps the ebb and flow of your abdominal cage. And now as you breathe into 3 or 4, actively, gently pushing your belly hand forward and out in a big, giant balloon belly breath. And as you breathe out twice as slowly to 6 or 8, actively and gently pulling your abdomen in towards your spine. Deep, rhythmic belly breathing, using your hand as a breathing buddy, continuing to feel each breath, to watch each breath, and perhaps to watch each thought, each movement of your mind, breath by breath, moment by moment. And as you continue this rhythmic belly breathing, on strike of this chime, one more layer of mindfulness, listening with our fullest possible attention for the very last trace of this fading sound. Thank you all. So I have a very short PowerPoint deck to guide this conversation. And even as I bring this up, perhaps you can use the chat window and the little reaction button at the bottom right of your menu bar to indicate whether you're feeling a little bit more calm or relaxed or focused, perhaps. Just a quick show of hands, if you will. Okay, you can probably see the title slide. And as Michelle said, we'll be talking about intellectual wellness and then followed by financial wellness today. As we discuss mindfulness and movement-based or dynamic mindfulness, just a quick refresher, if you will, around what is mindfulness? What is the mind full of in mindfulness? Mindful. And so a simple picture that perhaps will help you explain mindfulness not only to yourself, to your colleagues, but even to a toddler. So the idea that our minds are really slippery and constantly shuttling off to past and future, past and future, past and future, hundreds of times a day. And yet we know that the past is gone and the future isn't here. So the essence of mindfulness is really about centering our minds in the present and away from past and future. Such a simple diagram, such a simple definition that's so easily explainable. And the beauty of it is that the very description enables you to have a scale in your own mind. Now, how present am I? The more present I am, the more mindful I am. If I'm fully present, I'm 100% mindful. And if my body is here, but my mind is somewhere else, perhaps halfway mindful, then I'm 50% mindful. That kind of an idea. So, intellectual wellness, what does that really mean? How do we develop it? And so, as I Googled how to develop intellectual wellness, it was interesting to see that within half a second, about 16 million instant advisors. What did they say? Let's take a quick look. Read a lot, read for fun, improve your skills for studying, play a musical instrument, journal frequently, learn a foreign language, play a game. So all of these things came tumbling out, things to engage us intellectually, just like doing crossword puzzles and so on and so forth. Nothing wrong with any of these. And yet taking a moment to think about what is missing. When we want to be at our intellectual best, when we are able to solve the problems that are thrust upon us, when we need to unleash our creativity in every single interaction, in every role that we play, how do we do that? Any thought, comment, question, feel free to type up in the chat window so Michelle and I can keep track of it. Any thought, comment, question, idea? It turns out that cutting edge neuroscience is saying that when we can train our brain to be mindful, then the waveforms that our brains generate are in a very narrow band, between 4 and 12 cycles per second, the theta alpha band. And when you are able to get your mind in that band, then you unleash your creativity. That's huge, right? You're given a skill, a tool to be able to unleash creativity. It's as if mindfulness helps us manufacture creativity, the anvil of mindfulness. And as Linda is saying, to connect with someone else. Connection, of course, the essence of interconnection and interdependence requires empathy. Similarly, empathy, intuition, these things that we prize are actually developed very systematically with mindfulness practice. And so with that, let us take a mindful moment. I'll stop the screen share so you can see me a little bit more clearly, perhaps. And Marcia is continuing to interpret and possibly even, practice at the same time, just like I'm trying to do. So a simple practice, I'll describe it, and then we can try to do it together. If you're up for it, let's come up standing. I'll move my chair out of the way. And so one of the ways to try to be mindful, of course, is to use your whole body in this process. And a way to engage your body in being mindful, a very natural way to do it, is to try to balance yourself, challenge yourself in balancing. And so the idea is to turn ourselves into a form that we often see in nature, turning ourselves into a tree, if you will. So what's the idea? You're coming up tall on your right leg, and then moving your left leg over to the right and in front and across your torso. And so you're resting your left foot on your toes. So already you might feel a little unsteady. But now, if you want to challenge yourself a bit more, see if you want to lift your left leg up, perhaps a foot off the ground, and see how it feels. Can you embrace that little bit of instability? If you're comfortable, you can challenge yourself a little bit more. One arm coming up, or perhaps both arms coming up. If you want even more challenge, you can try to close your eyes and see how it feels. Knowing that instability in a tree waving in the wind is exactly how a tree develops resilience. The roots get stronger and so on. Let's come back sitting, and one strike of the chime to pull us right back to the immediate present. Let's get back to the screen share real quick. And I have a question here. Let me pull that up so we can address it right away. Fighting restlessness during meditation. That actually is very natural, very normal. And the process of meditation foundationally, Gonzalo, is about either focused attention or open monitoring. Just watching one's restlessness, the monkey mind in itself basically gives that message to the mind, okay, you're being watched, your game is up. And so that helps to get the mind calmed down with a bit of practice. Let's move on to financial wellness. So again, same idea, of course, many more advisors this time. How do we develop financial wellness? 116 million advisors. And the insights were actually things that we understand. Okay, evaluate your financial situation every so often, make some money, make sure you're watching your spending, build your savings, create an emergency fund, and so on and so forth. And yet, what is missing here is that there are many challenges with managing our finances. There is a lot of grief, there is a lot of loss associated with financial insecurity, losing a job, losing um, whatever savings we have because of a sudden illness in ourselves, our family members, and so on. There are many, many issues. And so managing financial stress becomes a key element of financial wellness beyond just making money, saving money, tracking money, and so on and so forth. And so one simple mindful movement that you can try when you are feeling worried and anxious about the financial challenges, then here is something that you might want to try, a little movement that gives us a little sense of confidence and an inner strength. And so as you're sitting tall, breathing in, your hands go back towards the handles of your chair or the sides of your chair, and you're working your hips a little forward in a pelvic tilt, chest opening up, shoulders heading back, throat opening up and head back. Big inhale, and as you're breathing out, slowly coming through neutral, chest caving in, shoulders coming forward, chin heading in towards chest. Breathing in, your chest puffing forward and out like a robin's breast. And breathing out, chest caving in, a little bit of a nurturing movement, a gesture of self-care. Breathing in and breathing out. A couple more times at your own pace. And one strike of the chime to get us back to neutral. Again, that's just a quick check-in internally. How do you feel in this moment? As I move on to the last slide, feel free to use the reactions, the reaction buttons, or the chat window. Leaving you with a little tool as we come to the end of our session today. The idea that there are, yes, the wealth of that quote that you saw before, the quality of life, that is so huge. And mindful movements have been shown to be tremendously effective for developing our executive functions, which have much to do with the quality of our lives. But this little tool that you'll find in our store and so on and so forth allows you to pick tiny little 2-minute practices, a bunch of mindful moments to move us from stressed to relaxed, from distracted to focused, from anxious to calm, and so on and so forth. And so with that, we are now at the end of our time. If you want to check out the possibilities in our store at the Niroga Institute in terms of tools to become more mindful, to practice mindfulness regularly, you're welcome to do that. I just put in the link there. And back to you, Michelle.
Thank you so much. I love the whole idea of the tree and the imbalance of it, but that in that imbalance, it does create this sense of resilience and within us. It's brilliant. So thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who attended today. Again, I will place in the chat the information about the Wellness Week, the website, the tracking information, the Google form, and then of course the schedule. So cheers to Wellness Week, Marin. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you today at 12 noon. We are actually going to be having a financial wellness and intellectual conversation with Redwood Credit Union. Her name is Jennifer Rodriguez. So we're excited to see her at 12 noon today and excited to see you then as well. Thank you so much.
Take good care, everyone. Bye.